Welcome to Bits of Wisdom, offering insights on money, Bitcoin, and the world of exponential change. Hello, and welcome to Bits of Wisdom. This is our foundation series on money, our monetary system, and Bitcoin. I'm Paul Rogers, and I'm glad you could join me. My objective in this series is simply to provide information and to educate you. I want to provide you with a foundation of understanding of our monetary system, how it works, and the current problems we're facing, both in this country, in the US, and throughout the world. And I'll explain why Bitcoin, as the first engineered money, appears to be one of the best solutions out there for these problems. Now, I want you to understand this because I don't want you to just go out there and buy Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, certainly, in the hopes that it will just go up. And if it doesn't, and they are volatile assets, and it goes down, you sell it, lose money, and are disappointed. That's not the point. So most of us have been so indoctrinated into the current system, it's hard to see its faults or even to contemplate a different system. It's like if you're playing a game and you don't know the rules or they keep changing. You're moving your piece around the board, but then all of a sudden you find yourself thrown 3 spaces back for reasons you didn't understand. So I want you to understand the game because most of the other players do. If you understand the existing reality, you can understand the new model that Bitcoin is building, and so you can consider it wisely. So let's just look at a few facts in the current situation. The United States is $29 trillion in debt, and it just keeps spending more money than it brings in taxes every year. In the last 2 years alone, in 2020 and 2021, we've added nearly $6 trillion to our national debt. The Federal Reserve Bank has created a third or more of the dollars ever created and printed in the last 2 years alone. That's huge. Interest rates have been manipulated by the Fed to stimulate the economy so that savers lose money by saving. The system has been designed to force you to spend and not save. You can never become wealthy or financially secure if you can't effectively save. Now, inflation is at the highest level it's been in 40 years. Real estate prices are skyrocketing, and the wealthiest of Americans keep getting wealthier, even during the pandemic, while many Americans have lost their jobs or their businesses. Now, there is nothing wrong with being wealthy, but we are having a divergence. And Americans know something isn't right, and it keeps showing up in our political and our civil divisions. Now, let's look at Bitcoin. It's the best performing asset class for the last decade. It's a system of money that is not controlled by governments or central bankers. And as we go on in this series, you'll see why that's so important. It's proven itself over the last 13 years it's been around, growing exponentially from its start at, in essence, zero to over $40,000 at the beginning of 2022, having actually reached a high well over $60,000 in 2021. Last year, an entire country, El Salvador, adopted Bitcoin as its legal currency, and I suspect more are on their way. Many traditional investors and institutions are moving in to Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. Fidelity, one of the largest money managers in the world, has a whole institutional research division devoted to cryptocurrencies, and it offers to their clients in Canada. Now, this just happened recently. Bill Miller, an old line mutual fund manager whose claim to fame is that his mutual fund beat the S&P 500 for 15 years in a row. A very traditional stock picker. He just revealed that 50% of his portfolio, his personal portfolio, is in Bitcoin. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have to have 50% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, but when institutions and individuals like these from traditional investments are moving into the space and sometimes moving into it so heavily, it's something you need to pay attention to. The other thing about Bitcoin that's pretty amazing is that it can be moved around the world 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at nearly the speed of light for, in essence, free. Try doing that at your bank. Now, I know most people say they just don't get it, and for a long time, I didn't either. And I spent 2 decades as a financial advisor. But once I saw what was going on with our monetary system, with seemingly no end or solution in sight, I knew I needed to understand this new asset class. So in this series, I'm going to walk you through what is money, how did it evolve, how do banks really work, what's the Fed, and where do they get all this money they keep printing. We'll talk about the roots of inflation and its impact on you, and how Bitcoin has the potential to solve the problems of our system with an immutable, transparent, decentralized system of scarce hard money that can be moved to the speed of light globally 24/7. I can pretty much guarantee you that if you stick with me for this series, you'll gain a new perspective on money and our monetary system, and that you'll learn things you didn't know, some of which will surprise, if not shock you, some things that you'll find hard to believe, but they are true. Now, I get it. It might seem a lot easier if I would just lay out in 5 minutes what you should do, but that's not the way I'm going to roll here, because I don't think that serves you. The process of learning, like life, is a process of discovery. And when you develop a greater understanding and reflect on these discoveries, they become real for you. And that's when you have your own aha moments. So I believe that to understand the solution, it's best if you understand the system and its weaknesses. Now, you can choose to be an ostrich and stick your head in the sand, or you can look up and examine things. Now, we can all have different views on what we see, but when it comes to money and the financial system, my recommendation is to take the blinders off and learn what's going on. Then you can make your own informed decisions. You may decide that Bitcoin isn't right for you, but at least you've made an informed decision. But if you see some merit, understand that it's still very early and there is tremendous opportunity. There are few things that have the risk-reward potential of Bitcoin. So let's think about this. Blockbuster didn't understand Netflix, and it is gone. Nokia didn't embrace the smartphone, and I doubt you have a Nokia phone in your pocket. When the internet was developed, most people didn't understand what it was about or how it could be used, and now the world can't function without it. Technology is exploding at exponential rates, and technologies that solve real problems win out. We have a problem with our money and our financial system. Don't ignore the problems or the possible solutions. Buckminster Fuller, one of the greatest futurists, said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." So in episode 2, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me and how I came to be on this journey into researching, understanding, and investing in Bitcoin. So again, thanks for joining me. I'm Paul Rogers, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.